Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Brent and in today's video we're going to go over the M1 Finance and Merrill Edge July 1-month stock market portfolio recap. In this video we're going to go ahead and cover the M1 Finance overall performance for the portfolio and the 1-month performance. Then we're going to go ahead and cover both portfolios, how much we total invested between the month of July, how many dividends we received, and the total amount of premium that we received by selling covered calls and puts over on the Merrill Edge platform. So we're going to go ahead and cover all of that. I wasn't able to cover all of the portfolios. We do have about 8 or 9 different portfolios ranging from Webull, my Roth 401k, my thrift savings plan. So we're only going to be focusing on M1 Finance and the Merrill Edge accounts because as I try to consolidate all the information, it was just a ton of information. So those are the primary ones that I mainly invest through, while the other ones are more passive. So I'm going to go ahead and just focus on those two in these videos, and then hopefully when we do our 1-year recap, we'll focus on them all as we did going into 2021. So with that said, if you guys are brand new to the channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it gray, hit the bell to be notified every time I release a brand new video. And of course, give this video a thumbs up, make it blue if you guys find it fun, entertaining, helpful. And let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, right off the bat, going into Monday, I'm not going to be buying anything in this video. I'm actually going to be buying something after this video. I haven't even looked at my portfolio besides kind of recording this and kind of looking at them overall. But right now, futures are looking positive. So it looks like Monday may have a nice bounce to the upside in the morning. We'll kind of see where the market goes throughout the day, but it looks like it could potentially be a pretty green day. Now, we're going to go ahead and go over into the M1 Finance portfolio. Now, overall performance, we're up 72.95%. This is money weighted. So depending on how much we've actually invested and our total gain, that is our total return that we have received overall from our portfolio. A little over 8,100 is from market gains, and a little near 2,400 is from dividends that we have earned by either being paid out dividends through our positions or having gone through an ex-dividend, and we will receive a dividend in the future. So overall, that makes it up to about $10,545 of total market gains from this portfolio. And this portfolio currently sits at $36,408 invested, with $212.71 sitting in the cash balance that we will be investing this week once again. Now, looking at the overall performance here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our top 3 winners and our top 3 losers. I posted these over on my Instagram as well. We went ahead and just quickly looked at the 1-month recap, just kind of posted that out there. So if you guys are interested in following me on Instagram, I do post quite often over there. So top 3 winners: number 1, Apple. Number 2, Main Street Capital. Number 3, Lowe's. Kind of different areas. We have that tech-heavy Apple. Main Street Capital is a BDC, and Lowe's is just one of those hardware stores that's been doing really nicely throughout 2020 as everyone was working on some sort of household project. And then also with the whole lumber and that whole blow up with the housing and such. So pretty crazy. Our top 3 losers: number 1, we have Simon Property Group. This is a real estate investment trust that's in the retail sector. If we go through closures once again here in 2021 as we go into the fall winter time, this one may suffer quite a bit. I'm still deciding whether I want to sell it off as a loss and just kind of reinvest that capital elsewhere. So that's what's kind of been on my mind going on with this position. Clorox, that is not correct. I am down $39, and this is showing that the position is down 11.25%. So that is incorrect. It's down slightly, but not 11.25%. Now, these other positions here: Hormel Food, Colgate, Merck, Siggy, Innovative, Method, these are all new positions in the portfolio that we've recently added probably over the last 3 or so months. So they're still getting a feel within the portfolio, but they are the least performing positions currently overall in our portfolio. So that is that. Now, as far as a 1 month recap, we can take a look here that overall for the 1 month, we're up a solid 2.5% or about $879.15. Now, roughly $91.40 is from dividends that we have earned. Again, that's from paid dividends and also dividends that are going to be paid in the future because we've sat through the ex-dividend date. And we had market gains of $787.75. So when we compare our portfolio versus the S&P 500, if we take a look at the 1 month here, now this does probably go back into maybe some June or so data, we can see that the 1 month for the S&P 500 is up 0.99%. If we take a look at the Dow Jones, it is up 0.43%. If we take a look at the Nasdaq, I know the Nasdaq went pretty wild, but it is up 0.23% for the 1 month. So overall, we're doing pretty well. I really wish that M1 Finance would include some sort of a year-to-date performance on here because, you can look at the quarter, but that only goes back so much. So it's really kind of funky, but I would really like to see a year-to-date on the M1 Finance platform, or have it as an option where you can kind of include ranges from, January to currently, some ranges, or a year to date would be really nicely addition here. Now, as far as activity going on in the M1 Finance portfolio, I did actually put together a PowerPoint slide because this included some math. So starting at the beginning of July, we did have some dividends get paid out. Now, I went ahead and kind of increased by how often we received the dividend. So here, our first dividend, I marked it as $4.03. The second dividend, I marked it as the base of $4.03 plus the new addition of $12.87, making it the new total. And then anything in green is a dividend. Anything in orange is a newly invested amount. So here we had one buy at $224.23, and then we continuously grew our dividend throughout July. Here, going into midpoint July, we continue to buy on our Mondays, just kind of averaging in every single Monday. And as we continue to do that, we also had received a number of dividends throughout the week and the month as well. So we had a pretty solid amount here coming in on the 15th of July. You can see that we went from, a base of $43 to a total of $100. So just on that day alone, we received $57 of dividends, just in a nice little amount right there, straight off. And then on the 23rd, we received another bit right there, about $15.49. And towards the end of July, we had our last two amounts get paid out from Cisco and Methode for a grand total of dividends from the M1 Finance platform of $126.77. And between everything that we invested, so dividends included and our cash deposits, we invested a total of $927.07 of capital into the M1 Finance platform. Now this includes our deposits, but it also includes the previous dividends as well. So that is all the dividends and the deposit right here, all wrapped up into one, and then we went ahead and made our buy. So that was a grand total there of total divs, $126.77, and total invested $927. Now, as far as what positions we had actually purchased, if I go ahead and scroll back one page, we can take a look at the positions that we purchased. Starting in early July, we made a single buy on the 6th. We purchased some Hormel Foods, $224.23 of it. And then going into the 12th of July, we went ahead and picked up some Colgate. So Colgate and Hormel Foods were positions that we recently started to kind of average into. On the 19th of July, we did another buy here of Merck. Merck at the time had been down 1% or so, and I believe it was coming up on ex-dividend. So I went ahead, took advantage, bought a little bit more Merck as well. And then our final buy and sell for the month was on the 26th of July, where we did sell out of Altria. This one had been in our portfolio for the past 3 years, essentially flat performance. We lost capital gains, but we gained dividend, essentially ending flat. Now, if this had been in a taxable account, I would have been able to take the tax loss and, tax loss it. But in this Roth IRA account, I can't do that. I don't claim any capital gains, any capital losses. It's just as is. So I went ahead and just sold it as it was and ended up positive just because of the dividends that we did receive in there. Now, I made a mistake there, and I kind of covered that in a video where I had sold out of this one, took the capital and immediately invested it towards Colgate and Hormel Foods. But because I had removed it from my portfolio, my pie, it automatically reinvested based on my percentages. So that all kind of spilled out and did some random mess there based off the percentages of my portfolio. So we did 7 buys right there, and that completes the M1 Finance portion. So overall, I think we did really well as far as the total amount that we received for the 1 month of July, the total amount of dividends, really nicely, and overall performance is really well, performing really well within this portfolio. Now, jumping over into the Merrill Edge account. Now that one has a little bit of craziness on the, it always shows account information. So I went ahead and took some screenshots to share with you guys, kind of going into this portfolio. Now, the Merrill Edge portfolio had been kind of idle for quite a while. I withdrew out of my Merrill Edge account back in 2017, I believe, to start up my real estate investment business. And between 2017 and 2021, I picked up 3 different units that are currently being rented, cash flowing completely fine, and they are doing everything that they need to do. But recently, I wanted to continue to add more capital into the market within the stock market, because now that my real estate portfolio, kind of quadruples or doubles or some amount of my stock market portfolio, I wanted to move back to the stock market where I could do different options. It's much easier to find investments within the stock market that are undervalued versus homes in this current market. They're selling homes that need a ton of fix up. Lumber's very expensive, labor's very expensive. It's really expensive to buy, and then to do the whole cost of rehabbing properties right now. I'm just kind of sitting tight and kind of waiting for some sort of a better opportunity. So I'm doing more of my focus within the stock market. So here recently, I started moving much more capital into my Merrill Edge account. I moved $100,000 into my taxable account. I transferred my Roth IRA from M1 Finance over here. I still have to deposit another $6,000 into the Roth IRA here. And I still have to transfer over my thrift savings plan. So those are still pieces that I'm working on here in 2021. But Merrill Edge will be my primary account where I'm doing most of my investment through. So we can see here just a quick breakdown of what we currently have invested. Now, of what we are currently invested in, our Roth IRA is mainly invested within the Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund. This is one that we transferred over from our M1 Finance Roth IRA, but we also had Kimberly-Clark in here. I will probably end up selling out of Kimberly-Clark, just taking the capital and rolling it over into VTI and just kind of leaving it in VTI. My taxable account, again, this is just another VTI position here. So I own 200 shares and some percentage there, fractional shares of VTI. And I do own a couple calls and puts within the account there. So nothing too big within the Roth IRA and taxable account. The M1 Finance account definitely holds the majority of our individual positions. I don't invest in a whole lot of individual positions outside of M1 Finance. And then in the IRA, I do have Apple, Abbott, Tattooed Chef, First Horizon, and that's basically it. So inside of the IRA, I have been doing a couple calls as well. So I did 2 calls on Tattooed Chef and 1 call on First Horizon. And that is primarily all that we're invested in within this account. So nothing too fancy within the Merrill Edge account. I'm trying to keep these ones much easier to manage just by kind of focusing on ETFs. So I do have 2 puts. Now the way that these work is that I have to set aside a specific amount of capital. So we can see here that back on this primary page here, we have $44,388 that is kind of sitting in sort of some investments, and that's because we have these puts right here. So these puts are taking up $220 times 100. has taken up about $22,000, and this is $215 times 100, which has taken up about $21,500 of capital. So between these two positions have about $43,500 kind of set off to the side as covered puts. If the market does fall down to 215 and it closes there on 8/20/21, I'll be forced to buy 100 shares of VTI at 215. I also have another position there at 220. So if it falls to 220 by 8/20 and it closes there, I'll have to buy another 100 shares of VTI at 220. But if they do not hit 220 or 215 and close below those positions, then those will expire worthless. I won't get assigned anything. I won't be forced to buy anything, and I'll just kind of keep the premium. The two covered calls on VTI, these are just two positions that I said, hey, if VTI reaches 225 by 8/20/21, I will sell these positions to you. And currently VTI is at some 226 right now. But we are going into August. We haven't had a pullback in the market in some 90 some days right now, which is kind of unheard of for how much the market has moved to the upside without having any sort of retracement or correction. So they say if we make it over, I think it's 110, 115 days, that generally the stock market goes green for an extended period of time. So just kind of seeing where the market goes here in the short term, but continuously investing for the long term here. And we already kind of covered calls on First Horizon, two covered calls on Tattooed Chef. Same thing. If it reaches 22.50, which I think Tattooed Chef's at $20 right now or some sorts, and First Horizon's down at $16. So these two positions will more than likely close worthless and not get assigned. I'll just kind of keep that premium. Now, talking about the dividend and options that we did within the Merrill Edge account, I went ahead and went over to display the activity here. We only received one dividend within the Merrill Edge account. That was from Kimberly Clark. We received a whopping $29.64 from this one. Now, covering the options, when we go and we sell options, so I sold a put on VTI, meaning that if it falls to $215 by August 20th, I will buy 100 shares at $215. And I kind of sold that position there at $29.34. So that's the premium that I was paid for selling that. I went ahead and purchased another 100 shares of VTI at $224.95. And that's part of that 200 shares of VTI that I currently hold. Up at Tattooed Chef on the 19th, I went ahead and wrote two covered calls on Tattooed Chef at 55 cents a piece. That collected me $108.69. So here our option one, we collected $29.34. We started with a base of $29.34 plus our new sell of $108.69. So we have a total there of $138.03. Then we went ahead and sold a covered call on First Horizon. So we went up to $142.37. Then we went ahead and sold a covered put on VTI. Now this was one that I sold early on for $210. This is where the market had been really red. It lost, I think, 2% or so. So I was able to sell a covered put at $210. And I collected $244.34 in premium. That put our total premium at $386.71. I did a covered call at $225 for $268.69. That put our total premium for $655.40. And here I purchased another 36 shares of First Horizon Corp. This was one that I purchased at $15.05. It's now up, nearly $16 or over $16. So I'll go ahead and continue to hold that position out. Bought our put. So here we bought to close our VTI position at 210. So here I did pay $115 to close this position right here. So here I collected a premium of $244.34. Here I bought to close that position. So I kind of made the difference there of $244.34 and paying $115. So that $130 or so in between is the premium that I kind of kept for myself. So I kind of just deducted 655.40 and I took away 115.65 for that total 539. Here I went ahead and increased the date for increased the value of my put for 215. So here I just kind of increased it from 210 to 215. I got another bonus premium of 154.34, giving me my total of 694.09. And then I sold another put at 220 and that collected me $139.34 for a total premium of $833.43. So overall, I didn't do any other calls or buys or puts. Towards the end of July, I just kind of let it roll. I'm letting it roll right now into August. I'm not sure how the market will kind of go, but I still have 18 days up until my call or my options either get assigned, get expired, or so I'm not too worried. So within this account, we invested $23,036.79. This was between VTI and First Horizon. Our total dividends that we received was $29.64. Our total premium that we received was $833.43. And the total amount that we received in capital was $863.07. And that just includes dividends and premium. So if we went ahead and I'm just going to go ahead, I didn't actually do the math between both accounts there, but 863.07 and our dividends from the M1 Finance account. So if we look at total dividends for M1 Finance of 126.77, that's a total amount there of $989.84 that we received in new capital. And this includes just the M1 Finance and Merrill Edge account. So this is kind of one of the reasons that I did want to move out of M1 Finance. So I'm kind of in the process of just wanting to invest the full amount. And this kind of goes back to the whole time in the market versus timing the market. I may, when my puts expire here on the 20th of August, if the market does pull back 225, 220, I may just fully invest the current capital that I have into VTI and continue to do covered calls and probably be a bit more lenient, pushing it out more versus where I had been with VTI recently. I sold those covered calls at 225 and that was only a difference of 2 or 3%. And we put on a nice bit there in July. So we'll see where the total market kind of ends up at here going into August. Let me know down in the comment section below, where do you think the stock market will be at the very end of August? Do you think we'll be positive? Do you think we'll be negative? Do you think we'll kind of trend sideways a bit? But let me know down in the comment section below. And that is going to be it for this video. If you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you all have a great day, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every time I release a brand new video, and that is it. Thank you all. Bye-bye.